One very important factor this upcoming season that gets overlooked a lot is the Luke Getsy factor. I have a lot of faith in Getsy's coaching ability, and seeing Justin Fields and a lot of these other guys in year two of the Getsy offense should be a ton of fun. I spoke so much this year about how Getsy and Eberflus were laying the foundation and establishing that for future success. It's what the entire 2022 season was about, and while it was painful to watch at times, it's exciting to imagine all of the possibilities of this offense improving next season. Despite our record, the offense showed a ton of potential. We were a team that could run on almost anyone in the league. The pass blocking on offensive line held us back. But even with those deficiencies, Luke Getsy was able to get a lot accomplished. Give him time. I think 2023 is the year we see the Chicago Bears passing offense finally approach the modern era of NFL football. Fans can be a little too quick to judge at times. Building a contender in the NFL doesn't happen overnight, especially when your GMs have constantly missed on draft picks and overpaid free agents. Speaking of Ryan Pace on that one, Luke Getsy and Matt Eberflus worked hard to establish a foundation in our locker room and on the football field. Meanwhile, Ryan Poles was tearing down the roster and ridding it of overpaid and underperforming veterans and getting guys that fit this front office. This year, the front office has the ball in their court, and it's their job to add talent all over this roster. The biggest goal being to fix the trenches. What Luke Getsy was able to accomplish last year was pretty surprising, actually. He actually fooled a lot of national media guys into thinking we have a really good offensive line. It's funny to hear some of those takes this offseason. It's clear that people with that opinion have never watched Bears tape, and they actually punish Justin Fields for making defenders miss and not just taking sacks. It's really weird. This team finally had an identity. They were able to run for over 3,000 yards on the season and average 5.4 yards per carry on the year. That's the foundation of this team. Eberflus and Getsy spoke about it all year long, but it got overlooked. They were able to do that with a makeshift offensive line and an undermanned receiving group. Defenses knew we were going to run the ball, and they still had trouble stopping it. The downfall of the 2023 Bears came mostly on defense, but also a failure to finish by the offense. The 2022 Chicago Bears lost way too many one-score games, but they were tough, competitive, and showed a lot of fight this year. A lot of guys who were starters this season will either be gone or be back as backups next year, and this roster will have a lot more talent. That's just a fact. Things are coming together, and there's no way that Ryan Poles doesn't improve the overall talent on this roster. Not with the number one overall pick in the draft and $100 million in cap space. Ryan Poles has the ammunition to make this roster competitive in 2023. That's something that's overlooked a little bit. A lot of people think it's going to be a lot longer for the rebuild until we can actually be competitive. Just take one look at what Ryan Poles and the Chiefs were able to do the year after the Super Bowl, rebuilding the entire offensive line. That was without a lot of cap space or the number one pick in the draft. Don't write off Ryan Poles, but the bonus is that I believe the Bears have an offensive coordinator that has the potential to be one of the league's best. Our passing offense needs to get better, but it's worth noting that quarterbacks who have played in this system for 2 straight years, it's natural to expect Justin Fields in this passing game to take a big step forward. But it's worth noting that quarterbacks who have played in this system often struggle for the first year and then take a big step forward in the second season. So it's natural to expect Justin Fields and this passing offense to take a huge leap in 2023. I really like Luke Getsy. I have faith in him. What he did with the talent on the roster this season, I was impressed by. He still needs to get better next season. In the moment, I think all of us fans wanted to see Luke Getsy call more passing plays this year, but when you take a step back and look at the season as a whole, Our pass protection was pathetic. Justin Fields took a beating this year. Did we really want him to get sacked more? I don't think so. I think Luke Getsy and the coaching staff did a good job with what they had, but we will really be able to judge them once we see what they do in 2023. I can't predict the future, and I could be wrong about Getsy, but so far he hasn't given me much reason to doubt him. He's a smart and well-respected offensive coach. Whether or not he will be a great play caller remains to be seen. If you ask me, though, I have a lot of faith in Luke Getsy. I've paid close attention, watched and listened to him all year long, and I couldn't be more excited for what Luke Getsy brings to this offense, especially in 2023. Things are looking up for the Chicago Bears. The plan is finally working. Things are starting to come together. Luke Getsy also got to work up close and personal with a lot of players at the Senior Bowl, and he wasn't just seen with offensive guys either. Getsy flashed some head coaching potential down in Mobile. He was vocal and showed leadership in practice throughout the week. I think him and Ryan Poles also spent some extra time with players that they have their eye on, and it's virtually guaranteed that we end up with a couple of players who were at the Senior Bowl. There's a lot to be excited for as Chicago Bear fans. It's a new era of football. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. We have to deal with clowns saying we should trade Justin Fields all offseason. And even though we're loaded with all of this ammunition, Ryan Poles still needs to hit a home run this offseason. I believe he will. Luke Getsy's a big part of this offensive staff, and just another reason for optimism. Stay tuned, guys. I have so much more coming. I will be in Indianapolis for the scouting combine 1 week from today, getting an up-close look at all prospects attending the scouting combine, and I'm going to have a lot of breakdowns coming out after that. I've spent a lot of time watching film on these guys, but getting to see them up close and personal, see how they move on the field, see how they interact with other players and coaches, it's going to add another level to my scouting reports, and I couldn't be more excited. Please remember to hit that like button for me, and until next time, bear down!